What do you think of a trio, Doug?
Well, it's an absolute disgrace what's happened to us. There are people worse off than me who've lost their homes. Well, that's what I thought until I was recently diagnosed with stomach cancer, which some of the medical profession suggest can be caused by stress. And the trio affair has certainly given me a lot of that. And this is a disgrace that now I'm going, within 2 to 3 weeks I'll be dead, and my wife will be struggling, and I think it's absolutely criminal that ASIC and APRA, who had done some investigations, didn't follow it through. The people who went through retail funds, and I understand all that, they got compensation, but the government didn't pay for that. The other people who put money into the super fund, they didn't know it, but they've been paying a part of the money they pay in to the fund actually is used, I think, goes bad. And for the Honourable Bill Shorten to say on television and several times that, it's really our fault because we didn't bathe between the flags. But we were bathing between the flags. But nobody patrolled the beach. For God's sake, they put the flags in there. We're supposed to regulate it. And obviously didn't. It is morally, ethically and everything wrong. Surely. And I just can't understand.
How much did you lose, Doug?
Well, it was 1.48 million.
And how long did it take you to accumulate that?
Well, my wife and I started off after our marriage with £70 to our no house, no car, just £70 and a flat in Brisbane. And then worked all my life with my wife's help until 76 when we sold our business. At the age of 76, that was in December 2005, Paul Gresham, who we'd known for over 20 years, and he was getting good results for us, and we were happy with him. We were quite friendly. But then, obviously, he got tied up with some crooks, and then he was a crook himself because we now know in recent years he's been making up the monthly reports we've been getting and all the bullshit that he was writing to us in our reports every month. And all of that he was doing, and he was involved in the fraud earlier on.
What do you think the government should do?
Well, the government should, number one, pay compensation to my wife, to my fund, and also to all of the people who invested and many who've lost their homes and their health. The other thing is, rather than ban Paul Gresham for financial involvement for the rest of his career, he should be in jail. And for the other guy, Sean Richard, to get a few years, which he'll get out early obviously, it's disgraceful. As Shorten and others have said, George Medcroft all said it's going to happen again in the future. Well, these people the lesson hasn't been demonstrated.
How has the trio situation and your loss affected your health and stress levels?
Oh, enormously. My wife and I woke up, we'd wake up in the middle of the night and try and console ourselves with the fact that our health at that stage was reasonable. So that's more important than money. Well, after you've worked all of your life, that's just downright unfair that we should lose it through the neglect of government regulators. If you read, as I have, what ASIC's charter is, or what APRA's charter is, I cannot see how they can't be held accountable. Cannot see it.
And what's your situation now? Your health and outlook?
Well, this morning I've been told I've got 2 to 3 weeks to live. I'm in great pain. I've got completely obstructed bowel. They're just going to try and make me comfortable. And I'd like to die at home. But we've just started to make the arrangements for my funeral. But we have to hurry up because we thought we'd have weeks or months or years, but that's not going to happen. All due to the stress of it. I was as fit as a fiddle. I was playing tennis every month and playing golf every week, walking nearly every day, and then suddenly I get this stomach cancer diagnosed in March this year. And I mean, I've got files at home, binders and binders, with every press cutting that's turned out about this. So it's been constantly in our minds all the time. I've been active together with the committee. I put in submissions to the St John Review. I put submissions into the Parliamentary Joint Inquiry. I went to every joint inquiry. And of course, every time you go there, you get stressed out anyway, because of the stories you hear of others as well as yourself. If that's not stressful, I don't know what is.
If you were able to say something to Bill Shorten, what would you like to say?
Oh, please, Mr. Shorten, I've got quite an admiration of your abilities. And you've got the power. I'd put a suggestion forward that it was well publicised, the fact that the Australian Tax Office suddenly found people who they were fining for putting too much money into their super. The fines came to, over a couple of year period, came to about 320 million. And they didn't expect that. And they said that that will increase over the next couple of years. So because that money all came from people putting money into superannuation, why should that just go into the government coffers and through ATO? Why not use that money? I mean, the money they didn't expect. So that wouldn't upset the budget.